Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Beyond the Sewing Room. Today I thought I'd share a couple of quick Christmas decorations with you that you can make with your children if you wish. Now the last one contains candles, so they will need to be supervised when you're making this, and also keep them away from the candles, of course. If you ever have it lit, you don't have to have it lit, you could just have it stood on the side. But I'm going to make three little things with you. They can all be done with children and they're really easy. They don't take long, they don't take any great crafting experience, they're just really basic things. So I thought I'd share those with you today in case you're wanting to do something with the children on the run up to Christmas, and you can have them around your house and keep them for future years. So first of all, I've had a little idea on the back here for the past couple of weeks. You may have seen it in previous videos. It was there to remind me to get around to doing it. So I've worked on that one, but first of all I'm going to show you the most basic of all, which is making bunting. So this is shelf bunting, really easy. I'm going to be using this, so what would we call it, parcel cord. You wrap round parcels or gifts, you can hang tags with it, but it's just nice to use if you're just making a simple bunting with some children. And we're making it for a shelf because we can complete it quite quickly. You can hang it below a shelf and it's there, decoration ready. Whereas making a full-size bunting takes a lot longer and the children would quickly lose interest if you're wanting to do this. So I'll get straight on and show you now. I've just used scraps that I had left from previous projects. I really have got down to my last few little bits of this fabric of this past few years, and the little bits I had left, I've cut out these triangles. They are sort of 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and then of course they will have a seam on the inside, so they'll be even smaller. Then I've also used a little bit of gingham, so I've cut mine out. You'll need two for each, so decide on how wide you want them spaced out. I'll show you what I'm doing with mine. You may not use all of them, cut out a few extra if you're not sure. And then we're basically going to be just looping them around this, so it's really easy. So we'll get straight on and start with that one. So that's make number one. So you may want to lay them out along your cord like this, just to see exactly how full you'd like it. So if you work towards 8, then you'll need 16 pieces like this. As I said, mine are 10 by 10. Just used a triangle of card as your template and cut round it that way. And then you're going to take both your pieces and you want right sides facing. So as you can see on my fabric, it's not as clear on the back, even though you can still faintly see the pattern. It's much bolder on that side. So you want both those sides facing. I'm going to sew down either side here, like this. Just use a 1 centimetre seam and a small stitch. You can make it a little bit smaller if you wish. Now what you do need to do is trim off your corners. So you could trim into the bottom a little. Trim across the corner, not too close to your stitches. You can do this for the children. You could let them have a go at the straight stitching if you wish, and then just turn it through. Now as you turn each one through, you can give it a little poke to make sure you get that point out. You can also give it a little press. Give it a little press so it's nice and flat. Then what we're going to do with ours, because we don't want to make it too fiddly for the children or for them to get bored, we're just going to fold over the top. So you want to give that a press as well. And we're going to be folding that over the cord and just stitching it on like this. So make all your triangles in this way, give them a press, and then fold down that top like this, ready to go onto the cord. Now normally when you're making bunting you would fold these in to the inside, but as we're working with children we don't want to be fiddling around too much, so I've just pressed it to the wrong side. Decide which side your wrong side, because they both look the same look. So press it over at the top like this, And then what you can do is either you can stitch it for them on the machine, or if they're a little older, they can have a go. Or you can use fabric glue and then secure it with a peg, and that way they could be more involved. So leave a little at the end so that you can hang it up. Put your cord behind it like this, fold that over, and now either glue it with fabric glue and, like I said, secure it with a peg if you want the children to do it, or just stitch along here yourself on the back. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. Now if you've got older children, they may want to do this on the machine anyway, but the little ones can just stick it on. Then when you've got one in place, just position your next one. So just leave a little gap in between. Go for a gingham one this time. And just make sure that folded edge ends up on the same side each time. So just folding it back again, just working our way along it. So I've put mine up here just for now, just purely to show you what it looks like. So as you can see, it's a small size, ideal for the bottom of a shelf. The children could have it in their own bedroom if they wanted. If you didn't want to make it for Christmas, you could use like pastel colours or bold colours, whatever theme they've got going on in their bedroom, and just hang it from the bottom of the shelf. So that's the first thing. I'll move on to the next decoration now. This in particular I saw in a magazine from years ago. Now this magazine was passed on to me from a friend. I've recently got rid of some of the magazines, but taken out a few of the projects that I thought will just remind me to make them. Now this particular one is not difficult. I don't really need to save the image, but it was just a reminder. So as you can see, it's just a wooden embroidery hoop, and then they've added what looks like some hessian there, some fabric with what looks like little daisies or whatever, but they look like stars or snowflakes. They could be snowflakes. They've embroidered some snowflakes on the backing and then stitched on 2 triangles for Christmas trees with a few embroidery stitches. So this one is really basic. I don't know whether I'll just do this design. I think I'll probably add to it and do something different. I'll probably make a few of these because I have a few of these that have not been used. So you could go for this basic design if you want. I've got a few Christmas scraps just here, which I'll probably use. I've got out a few embroidery threads. So this is what I've come up with so far. So I've just embroidered these on. Well, I use that term loosely because embroidery is not my thing, but I've just done the little sort of snowflakes with the embroidery thread like this. This is just hessian, so this isn't probably what people would normally use on one of these hoops. I'm just using what I had to hand. This is pique, and it's often used for t-shirts, and I thought this was nice because it's sort of this texture. I thought it was nice for sort of snow covered ground. This is just some lining fabric that I've cut 2 tree shapes out of, and I'm going to be embroidering the trunk onto those. So what I ended up doing with mine, after I put the trees on, I made the snowman. His scarf again is using that same sort of wrapping cord or string that I used in the last project. He's got beads for buttons, just a few stitches for eyes and nose, and I've given him some skis. Now, the skis were my husband's idea because I started sewing him on and I said, well, he's looking a bit wonky. He said, why don't you put skates on him? So I thought, oh, put skis on him because his scarf's blowing in the wind anyway. So these are just basic stitches. So you cut the shapes out with the children. You could have them do it or you could help them. You could do it in felt, but this is actually a satin that I had left over for something else. These are just little sort of, you do a cross stitch and then go through it again for the stars in the sky, and then this is a star sequin. The backing I've used is not the proper materials that you'd use for doing embroidery on these kind of things. It's just some hessian. So you could use whatever you've got for the backing, and these hoops are really inexpensive. So the one in the original idea, which is on the board behind me, which we'll have seen in the previous clips, just had cut out trees, and they can just be triangle shapes with a trunk on. So you could just do the most basic triangle shapes for the children, and some white fabric for the snow, and then just some sequin stars in the sky. So there's lots of ways you could do this, working with children, make it really easy. They could do Father Christmas, or they could just do packages with ribbons around them and some sequins and a night sky. Lots of ideas. Let them work out some things that they want to make, and that's another great one to do with the children this Christmas. So for this one, you could use a drawing or a picture that your child has made, either at home or at school, or you can just get them to print off something off the internet. So just check the ones that are royalty free. There's lots of images out there and that you can use, and you can just take a Christmassy image in a silhouette form like this one. So this one has got a sort of Christmas scene. So it's got stars in the sky, snowflakes, and just buildings and Christmas trees. So I've used this one just for the purpose of showing you this. This is not my image, this is just one off the internet, like I said. So you can use a silhouette, or you could either do it in white if you wished, if you wanted to make the image bolder. So cut it out to the size that you want. What we need to be able to do is to fit behind it. You can either use lighting, so the little inexpensive lights that you get for small trees and so on, such as this sort of size with a little battery pack. You could use those, or you can use 2 jars that you've washed out with a tea light dropped inside, but make sure that these are kept up on a shelf or well away from children at all times. Lit candles. I don't want to be responsible for anybody setting fire to anything with candles, so if you're using candles, they need to be well out of the way of children, and also when you're making this, don't let them near the lit candles. Just let them do the craft part and then put it up out of their reach after. Also, you want to stand the image away from the jars with the candles in, because you don't want it getting hot. So again, that's to your discretion if you did use that. I've used these before and they've been fine, but you may wish to use the battery pack little lights or little battery pack candles that you can get. They're much safer. So yes, probably use those. I'm just showing you the candles on mine just for demonstration purposes. So I've just got the image that I've printed off or that your child has drawn, cut it out to a suitable size. Then you're going to make yourself with some plain paper or Christmassy paper. I just had this already. Cut out the section in the middle that is big enough to take your picture, but I've allowed a little bit overlap so that I could fold it back. I always find that this just gives a nicer finish and makes it look like a proper mount rather than just a cutout. Then when you've done that, you can place your image behind it and stick it in place, so it's like a little picture frame. I'm just going to stick it on loosely for now, just to show you. Then for either side, you want to cut a little shape which is like a mount, like this. So I've just basically cut it on a curve, and then we're going to stick these to either side of the frame. You can add a little bit of card to make it a little stiffer, and we're just going to fold those back to make it stand up. And then behind it, I've just got my 2 candles in a jar, but like I said, please do use safety ones with children, not lit ones. So I've just added the 2 bits to the back like this. You may want to cut this on a slight angle going up so that it doesn't sit too far forward when you stand it in front. Stand it in front on your shelf, wherever you're going to put it, like I said, high up if it's out of the way of children. And then I'll just turn the lights off so you can see a little better. So there you just have the flickering candles behind it. So I hope that was useful today and has given you something to do with the children on the run up to Christmas. Please let me know in the comments if you try any of these, or if you've got any ideas of your own, or something that you'd like to see in future. If you want to know what I'm wearing today, I'm wearing the Marlowe cardigan, so I'll just stand up. So it's a long line cardigan. I have shared this in a previous video. I've made 3 makes of this particular pattern. This one is the long one with the pockets in grey with the brown wood buttons. and it's cold today, so that's why I'm wearing this. And underneath I'm wearing my top that I made in a previous video that I refashioned from a dress. So please check that out if you've not seen it. Now, thank you so much for watching today. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll be back soon with some more sewing. Bye for now.